Yes, I'm sitting in my car. I have a busy day today, but I wanted to tell you all this quick story that it just keeps eating at me. It's a great story about $100 bill and my mother. My mother was one of the most generous people I know. I watched my parents give endlessly as I was growing up, but this story about this $100 bill, I believe God allowed me to see this story so that I could share it here with you. But more than that, because He knew I would need it in my life as a single mama. So here's the story. Who doesn't love $100 bill, right? Let me say this first. I get $100 bill, which is not often. I save it. I don't maim it. I don't fold it. I put it in there perfectly in my wallet, and I don't spend it. That's what you do with a $100 bill. You hold on to that sucker. Anyway, my mother, I watched her fold this $100 bill. And from there, I watched her put it in the hand of my childhood friend, the only friend that I had whose parents were divorced. So this was back in, I was 7, 8 probably. So 75, 76, somewhere in there. Now you know how old I am. But I watched my mom give her this $100 bill. That was not the end of the story. Thankfully, God allowed me to see the rest of it. The rest of the story was that my friend's mom came back to my mom and said, I want you to know that I was able to pay my electric bill, and with the leftover, it was exactly what I needed to renew my license plates. Wow. As a kid, I remember the wow factor in that. And I remember just thinking, God, you are so incredible that you knew the math, that you knew the exact math, that it would be $100, that she would need $100. Now, I don't know if it was exactly $100, but at 8 years old, I thought it was $100 exactly. Like, she paid her electric bill, and the $42.71 left over paid her license plates. I don't know if that was the truth. But it did stick with me that God does know math. He does know math. But more than that, when I became a single mama, that story just resonated in my heart over and over, to know that not that I was depending upon people, but that I had a God that cared enough to give a $100 bill and it come out perfectly. That he knew exactly what was needed for her, and he knew exactly what was needed for me. And I can tell you, over the years, I have been blessed, abundantly blessed, by people who saw a need in our family and met that need at the calling, at the urging of the Holy Spirit. So I am so thankful. But watching my mom give that also inspired me to be generous. And I love to give gifts, and everybody, if I had tons of money, I just would buy gifts all the time. I love to give gifts. I think it's fun when you find something that is perfect for someone. But being generous in giving to others is what that story inspired me to do as well. So it assured me that God knew the math, God knew exactly what I needed, God would take care of it, but it also inspired me to give. And in that, I hope that my kids have learned to give. I'm going to say that they have, because I have watched them all. I have watched them give money where somebody needed something and they just give it to them. I have one kid that will give you the shirt off of his back if need be. Christmas Day, one of my kids said there was a homeless man and at Starbucks on the bench, and he bought him a hot coffee. And they all frequently have done things such as that. So I hope that inspires you. I hope that my mother's $100 bill, Alice and the $100 bill story, inspires you to just give. Just give. Where there is a need, meet it. And don't think twice about it. That is what I want you to know too. Don't think twice about it. My mother never gave it a thought. She heard that there was a need. She folded up that $100 bill and she gave it. And that's what we need to do. And that's what we need to teach our kids. Teach them to be generous. Teach them to give. Where there's a need, fill it. If they can do it, do it. So that's my word for today, is generous. And that is my story about my precious mama and her $100 bill. And the fact that I got to witness that is just, when I think about it, it just makes me so happy that God allowed me to witness that and to be part of that. So, have a wonderful day. And what will you do with your $100 bill today?